Yo, yo, yo. Testing, testing. Testing, testing. Kal Halal YAHAWASHI. We the Hebrew Israelites. Double checking and testing. Alright. Alright, Shalom. We're the Hebrew Israelites who come out here week in, week out to prophesy the downfall of America. So that the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans know that we are the true children of Israel, according to the Bible. So that the so-called white man know that he is Esau and that America is Babylon and Sodom and Egypt. All right, and that it will be destroyed in the third world war, which is going to be a nuclear war. So with that being said, we give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahawah, bahasham, YAHAWASHI, bahasham, Rakakadash. Giving double honors to our apostles and the elders of GMS. Salutes and honors to the elect, all the brothers across the four corners who are enduring in truth and sincerity, are the men and the women who follow. And as I said, America, which is Babylon, known as Babylon the Great in the scriptures. Can we get that scripture real quick? And Babylon, the beauty of Chinese excellency.
It's the book of Isaiah, chapter 13, and verse 19. And Babylon, the glory of kingdoms.
Yeah, the glory of kingdoms. Why is Babylon or America known as the glory of kingdoms? Because they say you can come here. It's a land of opportunity. You can come with nothing and end up with everything. You can live the American dream. You can come as an immigrant, and if you work hard, you can own a big house with a white picket fence and the dog and two kids. That's the dream that they want to paint to the world. That's not the reality in these times, but that's the dream that they paint. All right. What about this kingdom of excellence?
It says, the beauty of the Chaldees' excellency shall be as when the Most High overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah.
You're right. So this place is going to be judged with the same judgment as Sodom and Gomorrah, which we know fire rained down, all right, and completely obliterated those cities, and there was no inhabitants that dwell therein until this very day. All right, so let's jump in that Revelation 18.
This is Revelation chapter 18, verse 1. And after these things I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lightened with his glory. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the Great is fallen, and is become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird.
Yeah, so Babylon is going to be destroyed, right? Can we jump back in that Isaiah 13 and pick up from where you was at?
It's back in Isaiah 13. Back in Isaiah 13 and verse 20. It says, Isaiah 13 verse 20, it shall never be inhabited.
It shall never be inhabited. Sodom and Gomorrah was never inhabited. All right, you can go over right now, and you can find like all these balls of sulfur in the places where they believe Sodom and Gomorrah was. All right, it's sulfur, like literally embedded in the soil. It's sulfur literally in the riverbed where the River Jordan used to be, and it's evidence that that place went up in a flash. All kind of bones, bones and skeletons. There was a great death in that place. All right, and nobody lives there now. And America's gonna get the same judgment.
It says it shall never be inhabited, neither shall it be dwelt in from generation to generation.
Right, so how's this all gonna happen? It's all gonna come through the Third World War. Like we said, it was gonna be that nuclear war. All right, so can we get Malachi 4:1?
So you had him hold something?
He's reading Revelation 18.
All right, it's on Malachi chapter 4, verse 1. For behold, the day cometh that shall burn as an oven.
Yeah, the day comes that burn as an oven. All right, we know an oven is very hot. So it's saying the day's coming where this hotness is going to hit the earth. Well, what's the hottest thing that we know? All right, we know that the thermonuclear missiles. Matter of fact, get 2 Peter's real quick. Let him get. You know what I'm talking about? Element shall melt with fervent heat.
So 2 Peter chapter 3, verse 10. But the day of the Lord will come as a thief in the night, in the which the heavens shall pass away with a great noise, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat.
Yeah, man. So that's that day that coming that's going to burn as an oven. All right, it's going to melt the elements. Everything that's around us is made of elements. From that fence to this trash can to the ground to the trees. You know that brick building, these cars, everything is made out of the little squares on the periodic table. All right, and it's going to melt with fervent heat.
It says, the earth also and the works that are therein shall be burnt up.
Right, so the earth is going to be burnt up, but also the works. What are the works? All right, all the different doctrines and dogma that is propagated by America. It says that they transgress with strong drink, right? The alphabet activity, all right, giving women rights, all right, the I'll say the neutering of men.
They say that I just looked it up. It says that at the center of the explosion of a nuclear missile is 4 to 5 times hotter than the center of the sun.
John, hey, that's why it's gonna be a day that burns like an oven. Go ahead. You had some more?
No, it just said 200 million degrees Fahrenheit. So
that's gonna incinerate whatever it comes in touch with, and that's gonna be the whole of America. That's where you get the lake of fire from.
You gotta think about that. That's extreme heat, because when you think about even the wind that comes from those chips, like when those bombs hit, you get that mushroom cloud, but you got that wind that expands. That's gonna wipe people out too. But let alone, like you said, the center of the sun is how hot it's grave damage coming to this place, man. Grave damage.
Can we Bible Shah, all these that been the boat, and then we'll jump back on that Revelation 18.
This is Jeremiah chapter 50 and verse 14. It says, put yourselves in array against Babylon round about. All ye that bend the bow, shoot at her, spare no arrow.
Right, so it's telling everyone who has these thermonuclear missiles to point them at Babylon, to point them at America. All right? What does the scripture say in Obadiah? The men at their confederacy, the men that were at peace with thee, they're at odds with them now. So you have all these nuclear-capable countries who are right now, they're allies with America. They're going to turn on them. France, all right, the UK, India, all right, as well as their enemies, China, Russia, Iran, Korea. You know, all these missiles are going to get pointed at America, all right, to serve its purpose and to fulfill the Most High's prophecies. So let's jump back in Revelation 18. Now that we know how this destruction is going to come, start back at the top.
Revelation 18 and 1. And after these things I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lightened with his glory. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the Great is fallen, and is become the habitation of devils.
Right, the habitation of devils, like it said in Revelation or in Isaiah 13, speaking about the doleful creatures, the owls, the desert animals who will inhabit this place, but no people will. Go ahead.
And the hold of every foul spirit, and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird. For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication.
Right. It said all nations have drunk of the wine. Well, what is that wine? Going back into what I said. America is pushing this doctrine on the rest of the world. Right? You go back maybe 5 to 7 years ago, in the WWE, they had a pay-per-view in Saudi Arabia, and you had half the wrestlers, they protested it and didn't go because they didn't allow women to go to the event. So the women wrestlers couldn't go. So they said, well, if she can't go, I don't want to go. And then they allowed women to come to the event if they were chaperoned by a male. But now, women can drive now. Now women can walk about the city and do whatever. You know what I'm saying? But that's the influence of America. America goes into these places and gets them to change up from their culture, from their origin story, so to speak, pushing their doctrine. Oh, no, Saudi Arabia, you can't do that. You got to give these women rights. They're people just like we are. But if that's what they want to do, that's what they want to do. Hell, women didn't even wear pants in France till recently. You got something?
Yeah, I got a precept. This is the book of Psalm 73 and verse 9. It says, they set their mouth against the heavens, and their tongue walketh through the earth.
Go ahead.
Just backing off what the brother was saying, this democracy, these certain ways that America keeps over here, America pushes that on these other nations. Like the brother was mentioning, like in Paris, women weren't wearing pants, until that influence came from America. That's part of their tongue walking through the earth. Accepting the happy community, that tongue start walking throughout the earth. So on and so forth. And this is why it says that the nations eventually will be mad behind us. Yep, that's what it is. The tongue walking through the earth, man. So the things that America speaks. Now you see this being the world is influenced by it, man.
Yeah, I just looked it up with democracy was a thing here, and now all these other countries are democratic countries. Now India is a democratic country. Now Myanmar. Now different African countries. All around the world. You notice all these different countries in the world now. What they speak English. You have to learn English as a second language because of the influence of America, really. So Americanization is the term for it. Americanization has taken over all these different places. Now there's fast food in all these different places. Now there's just the culture of America is now ingrained in these different places, and they've been Americanized. And it's apparent.
All right, so this is from the AI overview. I asked, when did France allow women to wear pants? It says in France, women technically allowed to wear pants on January 31st, 2013, when a 200-year law was finally repealed.
200-year law, bro.
200 years. All right? Why? Because the scriptures say that a woman is not supposed to wear that which pertains unto a man. All right? There's a separation. All right? But America goes into these countries, and they start running their mouth, and guess what? They start running their pockets. And if you want that aid, you want to keep being on Babylon's good side, you're going to do what they tell you to do. You're going to take that bag.
Or they'll enact a coup.
Yeah.
They'll take the leader down.
They'll take your leader down.
Put a sanction on you or something.
They ain't going to do that to Europe. But they'll do that. They'll put a tariff on them, a sanction. What's proof of that? That's what they're doing right now. That's why the UK is trying to get America to join the Commonwealth. Canada and all these little fucking islands in Australia, that's all part of the Commonwealth of the UK, which is headed by the king. And the king is trying to get America to come underneath their banner and be part of the Commonwealth so that they ain't got to experience those tariffs that Trump is hitting them with.
That Commonwealth, is that where Russia's involved with that too, right?
No, the Commonwealth of the United Kingdom.
Okay.
Britain.
Right. Back to Revelation chapter 18, verse 3. For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her.
Yeah, man, everybody's making that money off America. Now Trump is kind of, he's fucking that up. This is one part of why, everyone's going to turn on America. But everybody is, because America is a consumer economy. We export a lot of good things, but, the dainty things, like you said, the Babylon was the Chinese excellency, is because Americans like a lot of unnecessary stuff. And China produces 95% of it. You don't need a Gucci bag to make it through life. You don't need $300 penny loafers. You don't need all those dainty things. You don't need a BMW. But that's what Americans like. Americans like to live above their means. And these other countries are producing the things that America wants. So they have an invested interest in America, I guess you would say.
And you know what? That's a beautiful point that you made. I don't want to divert, but the fact that these other countries, like specifically like the brother saying with China, you don't think that the American lifestyle, the American agenda of wanting to be a flashy individual, wanting to consume things, you don't think China's watching that? So yeah, when they see the so-called luxurious life that Americans like to live, like you said, unnecessarily, like the apostles were bringing out that word superfluously, and unnecessarily, okay, well, you don't put tariffs on, okay, well, that's cool, because y'all still gonna need this. So yeah, you just gonna hit them harder. They buying unnecessary. Americans are buying unnecessary things, and that's because that's the image that's pushed by these entertainers. You gotta have this or you a lame. You gotta have this or you a square. Blah blah blah. So now Americans feel like you gotta live this certain type of lifestyle in order to be special, so to speak, or be looked at. So yeah, they're gonna capitalize on that. With these tariffs, and they said that the tariffs that Trump is putting on the people, they said that he chose to do that, not understanding what tariffs really were. That it's a tax on the consumers, and that you want to buy a Gucci bag, you want to buy a Lamborghini, you want to go get you a fancy ass car, a fancy ass t-shirt. Well, guess what? That comes with a higher price, So just on that, man, America's gonna be through because the most Americans' mindset is set on that. I gotta have that, man. Shit, you see what Lil Wayne doing, Gucci Mane.
They say put that shit on.
Put that. That's a term. I gotta put that shit on. You ain't got it on, huh? Like because if you ain't got the stuff on, then
But hey, that's the thing, because you can have that stuff on, but because they don't like it, you ain't got that stuff on. They had the picture of the dude. He had the polo, and he had the jeans and the shoes. And they was like, he said, I ain't putting it on. I ain't putting it on.
Oh,
yeah.
That tan outfit?
Yeah. Because he had like a blue polo.
Dude.
Yeah. He was probably like in his late 30s, But you had these.
I would have rocked that shit.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't nothing wrong with it. It was so-called name brand, But to the youngsters, to the young, he ain't have it. He ain't had that swag.
He ain't putting it on.
He ain't put that shit on.
Right.
And that's just the confusion that America, pumps in your head. You go to these other countries, and they wearing, everybody wearing like the white robes and shit. Like you go to like the Middle East, everybody wearing their little hijabs or whatever. I don't know the technical term for them. I don't want to disrespect nobody unnecessarily. Unnecessarily. But you know, they put they shit on, so to speak.
Yeah.
Well,
But it don't look expensive. It's not like, well, hey, brother, you do not have the Nike. There's no Nike check on that.
Nike's ain't.
As I said, you want to disrespectful, but
right.
There's no
right.
Nike's ain't.
I was just thinking like
be alright.
China, like all these different countries have their cultural, you know, how they dress. But even them, now you see like they're quote unquote higher ups in society wearing suits
they're
and
wearing
stuff like
suits,
that
going based
because
off
of that
of what-
Americanization.
going off the so-called white man.
Wearing
You know?
suit and ties and shit. and now you good, you know.
Look at Japan. You know, Japan was one of the last cultures who like came out of that. They were like, you know, that samurai culture that, you know, we bow, we, you know, take off your shoes. You know, they were really into their culture. But after World War II, where they were completely obliterated by, you know, the atom bombs, and then America gave them the IT sector. They gave them IT businesses to try to build them back up because they didn't think that it would boom like it did. And then it ended up booming, and now Tokyo and Japan is built up, and you have all these businesses over there. And what are they wearing? Like the brother said, they're wearing that suit and tie. They're putting that Esau on.
Putting that Esau.
Put that Edom on.
Put that Edom on.
Put on that Edom.
Put that Edom on you. Yo, let's go. You had something?
No.
Okay, let's go.
It says, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies.
Mm-hmm.
And I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her.
Hey, but like we were saying, Slakia, through the abundance of their delicacies, right? Because those delicacies are the stuff that America imports from these different countries. And these other countries, they know it. That's why China, they ain't tripping on these tariffs. They ain't gonna put up no what's the word? It starts with a B. Not a B. Man, what's the word? No, not an embargo. They're not gonna do an embargo because that's gonna fuck their money up. So they gonna all right, cool. You put them tariffs on us, all right, cool.
Charge you right back. Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna charge you right back. We ain't gonna suffer. We still gonna eat. We ain't changing our prices. But guess what? It's gonna hit the consumers.
They're gonna change their price.
Oh well, yeah. They're not gonna decrease. That's what I should have said. Yeah, but you're right. You know, they're not gonna because they still gotta eat too. Like nigga, we ain't about to suffer because y'all want to put tariffs on us. We go, all right, cool. Y'all country doing that? Let them have it.
Shit, the kids might go from making 37 cents a day to making 42 cents a day.
Man. 5 seconds. Yeah. All right. But so like y'all, I had to. So like, I'll hold my peace.
And I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins.
Yeah, man, that's speaking about the salvation. Because before these missiles hit, right before these missiles hit, all right, the elect is going to be beamed up. All right? That's what we have to be saved from. All right, the so-called white man, if he had a chance, everything would be destroyed. It tells you that in the book of Matthew.
Chapter 24.
Yeah, Matthew 24. All right, but for the elect's sake, you know, the Most High is not going to do that, and He's going to save them. Can we get that Zechariah? You got something? Get that. Hold that Zechariah, bring him through the fire.
This is Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 5, verse 2. I should start at verse 1. This is Wisdom of Solomon 5 and 1. Then shall the righteous man stand in great boldness before the face of such as have afflicted him.
Yeah, man, that's what we're doing right now, standing in great boldness. You know, we're vulnerable. We're on the street corners. We don't have no weapons. We're not out here for that. All right, the only weapon we got is this sword and this dagger. All right, and the spirit that the Lord put on us. All right, we're out here in the elements, preaching and teaching to our people on this sign. All right, telling woe into Babylon. All right, woe to the 2/3. Woe to America. All right, repent, for the kingdom of heaven is at hand. That's our job. All right, that's what we're out here to do. That's how we're standing in the face as such as have afflicted us. All right, because the so-called white man, he's getting it too. All right, go ahead.
And made no account of his labors.
They don't make no account of our labors. We built this whole fucking country. All right, this country was built on the back of slavery, free labor, hundreds of years of free labor. And then they want to say, well, you niggas need to catch up. All right, make no account of our labors. We built this fucking country literally, physically, mentally, spiritually. All right, and they don't care. And guess what? Our people don't care neither. But guess what? If you ain't meant to get beamed up like we're reading right now, you're just gonna fucking die in America. So go ahead, roll by, roll your window up, do whatever the fuck you want to do.
Right, because they're not making account of these labors either.
Right. Right. Hey, this is the foolishness of preaching. We're counted as fools. What y'all be doing that night?
What y'all do at night?
Do the same thing you motherfuckers do at night.
For the most part, not every day.
Well, if I may, going back to the point that the brother was making out account of the labors, that was beautiful, because what's another indicator that they don't make account of the labors? They're saying what? They tell the so-called Negroes to what? Go back to Africa, right? Like this, and they tell what? They telling the immigrants, not so-called immigrants, which really talking about the Native Americans. They saying, well, we gonna send y'all out. Where we gonna go? This is technically the land, right? It's technically the land that was discovered by the Native American Indians, right? But here it is. Esau Edom is what? Kicking a lot of these people out. Where they gonna go? You didn't have any history of the individuals, Christopher Columbus, that came over here and did what he did to these people. But that's not making account of laborers neither, because what? They taught you how to fucking live, man. How to be a fucking human being. To this day, you don't respect that. That's why there's a great judgment coming for Esau, man.
This last verse, it says, when they see it, they shall be troubled with terrible fear, and shall be amazed at the strangeness of his salvation, so far beyond all that they looked for.
Yeah, man, they're gonna be amazed at the strangeness of our salvation, because they were told that, they watched Independence Day. They watched all these Alien, Predator. They watched all these old movies. All right, and to their knowledge, all right, these alien graves are coming down to destroy them, or to take over the world. When really it's angels in these vehicles. All right. Yeah, coming to destroy the various places around the world. The scriptures say that every eye shall see. All right? And we're going to narrowly escape.
And that's why it says in Revelation chapter 18, come up hither, that you be not partakers of her sins. Because we're going to be beamed into those chariots that this world knows as UFOs. That's the strangeness of salvation. When people see that, they're going to be like, are you serious? Like, they're going to see Jake, they're going to see the elect of the nation of Israel being beamed into quote-unquote UFOs. That's going to be a crazy sight to see, That's all I want the reference to say.
I think it was a little more.
Okay.
I had two said that you wanted, but I had another one too. All right.
It says, and they repenting and groaning for anguish of spirit shall say within themselves, this was he whom we had sometimes in derision and a proverb of reproach.
Yeah, man. These niggas get salvation. That's what they gonna say. Oh, those guys who was on the corner, or these dirty nasty Mexicans. That's what they're gonna say about us. In shocking wonder that we're the true people of the Lord, and that these crafts come from outside of this world to come and deliver us. Because to Esau, we're the bottom. There's nothing lower than a Mexican, than a nigga, all right, than a Native American. When I say Mexican, I'm speaking about all the Latino tribes. Because Esau don't care. You could be from Colombia, you're a Mexican. But
that's why I said a proverb of reproach.
We're a proverb of reproach unto them. All right, but we're really the apples of the Lord's eye. Go ahead.
We fools accounted his life madness, and his end to be without honor.
Yeah, they ain't think that there's no honor behind this. They don't believe in the Most High. That's why, when you keep reading what's that, Wisdom of Solomon, the second chapter, it talks about smelling at every flower and leaving tokens of your life, because they believe in YOLO, that you only live once. So they believe that you should live your life to the fullest. All right, not knowing that you're going to come back in reincarnation, not knowing that there's more to this life than this life. All right, but we can get that scripture. Yeah.
This is the book of Zechariah 13 and verse 8. And it shall come to pass that in all the land, saith the Lord Yahawah, 2 parts therein shall be cut off and die, but the third shall be left therein.
Yeah, 2 parts can be cut off and die. All right, the 2/3 of our people, 66.666% of our people, are going to die here in America. All right, that 1/3, the 33.33333%, all right, are going to get salvation. All right, they're going to get beamed up into these chariots and escape the thermonuclear destruction headed toward America.
And I will bring the third part through the fire.
Right, he's going to bring us through the fire. That's what it said, come up here, my people, that we be not partakers of the sins, because this place there's a dead nation. All right, there's an obliteration taking place. All right, America's, the sand is dropping out that hourglass. All right, as a certain time, it says it. We're going to get into it about that hour, that 1 hour, that America is destined to go down.
And will refine them as silver is refined. Drop that. This is the book of 1 Peter chapter 4, verse 18. It says, and if the righteous be scarcely saved, where shall the ungodly and the sinner appear?
Yeah, man, it said the righteous are going to be scarcely saved. Right? So what about everybody else? I ain't worried about everybody else. I'm doing what I need to do to get to the kingdom. All right, these brothers are doing the same, and we're collectively as a group moving towards the kingdom. That's the goal. Salvation, to move towards the kingdom. We can't just stay stagnant. We can't turn around and go the other way. We got to go forward and move towards the kingdom, because there's going to be a lot of death and destruction. All right, and the righteous are going to scarcely be saved.
Back in Revelation chapter 18, verse 5, for her sins have reached unto heaven, and the Most High hath remembered her iniquities.
Yeah, man. We're going to talk about that rap sheet, man, that manila folder. Like you see in the movies when the criminals at the police station and they slap that folder down, and we got burglary, larceny, and so on and so forth. When you read Esau's rap sheet, man, it reaches unto heaven. That's how many charges he got against him. That's why there's no repentance. That's why there's no. That's why he can't escape this judgment. All right, the Lord's eyes are 10,000 times brighter than the sun. All right, and those angels are recording all the acts of everyone, including Esau, Edom. You got something?
Well, yeah. This is Wisdom of Solomon chapter 2 and verse 21. Such things that they imagined and were deceived, for their own wickedness have blinded them. And I brought that up based on what the brother was saying. And it really, I should have got Ecclesiastes 8 and 11 as well, because that's why Esau's rap sheets continue to increase, because all he sees is what his plan is, right? And I mean, to this day, he sees the prophets out here on the corners. He sees all the information about him that's not supposed to come out, that's coming out, and the prophets speaking on it. But he's so set in his pride and that nothing's going to happen that he's continuing. He ain't slowing down nothing for nobody. His agenda in his mind is going to be fulfilled. But all his agenda is full of wickedness, man. Everything against the Heavenly Father, Yeah, I just want to say that, brother.
It says, reward, Revelation 18 and 6, reward her even as she rewarded you, and double unto her double according to her works.
Yeah, man. So it's saying reward the so-called white man. This is speaking about in the kingdom. You know, we're going to reward her as she has rewarded us. All right. So what have we been rewarded with? With slavery. We've been rewarded with the raping of our women, the taking and the raping of our women. We've been rewarded with our kids being used as alligator bait, being hung up and fire set beneath our feet.
I appreciate it.
Been slaughtered all the day long. So reward her even as she rewarded us. All right, it says in double. So all the wicked acts that you did unto us, are you going to drink double? All right, according to your works. Go ahead.
Ezekiel chapter 35, verse 5. Because thou hast had a perpetual hatred, and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword in the time of their calamity, and the time that their iniquity had an end. Therefore, as I live, said the Lord Yahweh, I will prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee. Since thou hast not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee.
Yeah, so I mean, it's going to come back on them. All right, all the wicked acts are going to come back on them. But this is saying that it's going to come double. All right, everything that you've done, right, the penalty is going to be double. You stole $10, you're going to pay back 20. You know, you made us work in the field 18 hours a day. We're going to make you work 24. You might get a break. You know, you'll get a break on the Sabbath. You know,
You're gonna be looking for the Sabbath.
you're going to be, I bet you know it's by the moon then.
You're gonna be out there like, what is up?
You know, but you know, you're going to feel the full force of YAHAWASHI, YAHAWASHI, man. You're going to get your fucking, that's your justice. You know, you lock people up for, or not unintentionally, but who are innocent. All right, you make people pay child support for kids that ain't even theirs. You judge unrighteous judgment, so you're gonna be judged with what? With righteous judgment. Yeah, you had a precept.
This is the book of Lamentation, chapter 4, verse 21. Rejoice and be glad, O daughter of Edom, that dwellest in the land of Uz. The cup also shall pass through unto thee.
Yeah, that cup's gonna pass on to you. We had to drink that cup, so guess what? You gonna drink the dregs. Go ahead.
It says, the cup also shall pass through unto thee. Thou shalt be drunken, and thou shalt make thyself naked.
Yeah, man, you gonna expose yourself. You gonna, because you know when you get drunk and you get kind of, you might get a little bit out of order, you know. So that's why he said you will make yourself naked. It's almost like you're gonna make a fool out of yourself. But in this sense, all right, they're gonna drink the judgments that they got coming, and they're gonna feel it to the fullest extent.
It's Psalm 79, verse 12. And render unto our neighbors sevenfold into their bosom their reproach.
Sevenfold, man. You're going to pay it back with interest. All right? And then guess what? When there's no more need for you, when we're done with you, we're just going to fucking discard you just like you did us. You know? We're going to build a big ditch, and you're going to be the fuel for the fire. All right, and there's gonna be no more wickedness or no more wicked individuals on the earth. There's gonna be no more need for you.
And also to add on top of that, that 7 represents completion. You know, so it's gonna be a complete recompense that's gonna come onto these neighboring nations, man. It says, and render unto our neighbors sevenfold unto their bosom their reproach, wherewith they have reproached thee, O Lord.
Revelation chapter 18, verse 7. How much she hath glorified herself and lived deliciously.
Yeah, everybody, you know what I'm saying, got that Hulk Hogan spirit, that I believe America, fight for your right, fight. You know, that true American beard. You know, everybody you know, waving their little American flags. I seen a post the other day. It was in a video. It was talking about Russia and America, and you know, going to World War III. And it was somebody said, obviously, if America and Russia were to go to war, Russia would get completely obliterated. Like, that's just American rhetoric. You know, that's not based off of any kind of facts. Because if anything, it's equal parts. Because Russia's at least, if not more, just as strong as America, if not more. America or Russia being more stronger. They got more weapons. All right, they don't have a dumbass ruler like America does. So, if anything, Russia would have the advantage. All right, and the scriptures speak about America being destroyed, not Russia. And and the bear was slain by the whore. No, the scriptures don't say that. The scriptures say that America, Babylon, which is America in the scriptures, is going to be destroyed. All right, in the third war's war.
So much torment and sorrow give her. For she saith in her heart, I sit a queen, and am no widow, and shall see no sorrow.
Yeah, man, people don't believe there's going to be an end of America. No kingdom, all right, lasted on top past 350 years. It's going to go down. There's going to be a transition of power. Even the Roman kingdom had different phases of the Roman society. You had the Roman Republic, which transferred into the Roman Empire, which then transferred into the Holy Roman Empire. There were different phases, so that's not even one rulership. So you can't use that. The British Empire, you know, when they were going to India and going to Singapore and all those places down there getting spices, same with Portugal and Spain, they had their run. America's on their run right now, and guess what? It's coming to an end. What you got?
This is 2nd Ezra chapter 9 and verse 5. For like as all that is made in the world at the beginning and an end, and the end is manifest.
Right, the end of America is being made manifest. Is the picture is becoming clear right in front of our eyes. All right, it's like, remember when you was a kid, you had that Etch-a-Sketch. You draw a picture, and then you shake it, and then it disappeared.
Clean slate.
It's a clean slate, right? Well, that picture is being drawn on that Etch-a-Sketch right now. We're able to see the destruction of America is getting clearer and clearer and clearer. And the Lord, YAHAWASHI is going to just completely erase everything. But the building blocks is being made right now.
And just like you were saying, like these prior kingdoms, you know, correlating with what you're going into now with America, all of them, they had a slow decrease. Pretty much there were signs that this kingdom was going to fall. You know, so what makes America so much different? When the Most High, he said that he gave us signs that, okay, this is how you indicate this place is about to fall.
You know, what were some of those signs? The money. All right. Let's go to the Roman
sedition.
To the Roman society. You know, they had to devalue the money. You know, that's where Biden the coin, that's where it comes from. Because gold is a soft metal. All right, and if you bit in it and it didn't bend as easily, oh no, there's something wrong with this. It's dross. You've put in more base metals, more less valuable metals to lower the value of the currency, and that's what's going on in America. All this spending going on, 34 trillion in debt, and then to add on to that, you got the tariffs, which all these markets around the world, the stock markets are not crashing, but they're experiencing loss, great loss. Why? Because of the tariffs. And America's going to feel that same pain. Hey, it could be 2008 all over again. You know, hey, it could be fucking, was it 1919, 1921, the Great Depression, whatever it was back then, you know? But we know this time when that market crashes, that's when they're gonna interact their or enact, should I say, enact their new society. All right, when they're gonna put in that CHIP.
It says, this last one. Even so, the times also of the highest have plain beginnings and wonder and powerful works and endings and effects and signs.
Yeah, man, there's evidence to see how the place is gonna go down. All right, well, going back to Rome, their armies were spread too far out, too thin. All right, they had to protect too much land, so they were easily and they were vulnerable. You can only put X amount of people at one spot to protect. But if you're protecting one area of the kingdom, and somebody brings their whole army over there, your little infantry group can't fight a whole army. So that's how Rome was vulnerable. America's the same way. They got these bases all over the world. You know, a slap don't hurt as much as a punch. Don't get me wrong, a slap hurts, right?
Get your attention.
But a well set punch, you know, that'll change your life. It'll change your smile.
Set off soul food. Oh, that fish did strike a mighty blow.
A mighty blow.
Back in Revelation chapter 18, verse 8. Therefore shall her plagues come in one day, death and mourning and famine, and she shall be utterly burned with fire.
Yeah, man. Like I said, America, that sand is dropping through that hourglass, man. There's an exact day, hour, time, all right, minute, second, all of that America is just scheduled to go down, and we're creeping closer and closer and closer with every moment.
For strong is the Lord Yahawah who judgeth her.
Yeah, man. America's going to be judged by the Lord, YAHAWASHI. We spoke about all the wretchedness, all the wickedness that go on in this place, and how it's been spreading throughout the world, and you don't think you're going to get judged for it?
And the kings of the earth who have committed fornication and lived deliciously with her shall bewail her and lament for her.
Yeah, these other kingdoms, all right, who are making money off of America, they're going to be sad. Why? Because their cash cow has now been put out to pasture. There's nobody in the world left who's going to buy their bullshit at that same rate.
It says, when they shall see the smoke of her burning, standing afar off for the fear of her torment, saying, Alas, alas, that great city Babylon, that mighty city, for in 1 hour is thy judgment come.
Right, and it don't take too long for these missiles to come from one end of the earth. Can we get that? They come from a far country. Yep. These ICBM missiles, the top level ones, they'll go from here to Russia or Russia to here in 30 minutes. All right, but then you have those other missiles, I believe, cruise missiles. They may take an hour or 2 hours or so to come from one area to the other. Okay?
It's the book of Isaiah, chapter 13. And shit. Just get straight to the point.
Yeah.
It's Isaiah 13 and verse 5. It says, they come from a far country, from the ends of heaven, even the Lord Yahawah, and the weapons of his indignation to destroy the whole land.
Yeah, man. Those nuclear missiles are the weapons of the Lord's righteous anger, all right, to punish America. So if you don't want to be a part of that righteous anger that's going to be thrusted upon America, hey, man, get right now, man. Repent right now.
Hey, it said what? It said, lo, it will come.
Right.
You know, so, and that's, you know, like the brother said, you know, to get right, but that's even with, you know, us. That made me think about that is because we, not only are we to be on the right path, we stay on the right path because the Most High is no respecter of persons. You know, so as much as to the individuals that are watching, as well as double times to us, making sure that we on the right path, because the Most High is going to send his indignation here, because Babylon the Great, America, is wicked in general. America's not going to change how they're acting. Destruction has to come, but we can change how we act.
Well, get that in second Esdras. The wickedness is sown. You know what I'm saying? Sown. You don't know about. It's like 4:26 or something.
This is Second Esdras, chapter 4, and verse 28. But as concerning the things whereof thou askest me, I will tell thee. For the evil is sown, but the destruction thereof is not yet come.
Yeah, man, the wickedness, the evil is sown in America. All right, it's been planted, it's been embedded, all right, into America, all right, from the beginning. Not Arthureth, all right, because there's a difference between Arthureth and America. When the 10 tribes came over here to Arthureth, it was with good intentions. But when the so-called white man came over here and called it America, that's when that seed was planted.
That is foundation of wickedness.
Go ahead.
If therefore that which is sown be not turned upside down, and if the place where the evil is sown pass not away.
Yeah, man. So what happens if you take a seed and you got to turn it upside down? You got to dig it up and you got to uproot it. All right, the root structure has to be taken up and dumped out, because those roots are going to grow and send the nutrients to build the plant. All right, so that's what's been happening for the past 400 years. All right, America's root structure has fed this plant of wickedness and it's grown and it's spread throughout the earth. It started here in America, but as the scripture said, that cup, those doctrines, all right, is spread to Europe and it's spread to Africa and it's spread to South America and Asia and so on and so forth. So that the root structure has to be cut out, uprooted. Go ahead. Because if it don't, then cannot it come with that was sown with good? You said that.
It's all good. You just said it. It says, and if the place where the evil is sown pass not away, then cannot it come that is sown with good.
Yeah, man. Then the kingdom of heaven wouldn't be able to come. There's not going to be the kingdom of heaven and Babylon the Great existing at the same time. You're not going to have RuPaul's Drag Race in the kingdom. You're not going to have, these Decepticons and Autobots reading books to children. Y'all know what I'm saying? It's more than meets the eye. You're not going to have, Transformers. You said shalom. You're not going to have, Starscream reading books to children in elementary schools. That's not going to happen. All right, it can exist in this kingdom because this is Esau's kingdom. This is his ruling. Can we get that in I think it's like Daniel 4. It's like Daniel 4 and 11 or something like that. Speak about Esau's it's Daniel 4.
The basis of men?
Yeah, that's it.
Daniel chapter 4, verse 17. This matter is by the decree of the watchers, and the demand by the word of the holy ones, to the intent that the living may know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men, and giveth it to whomsoever he will.
Yeah, the Most High rules. The Most High will give whatever rulership to whoever he deems necessary. All right? So it was a time for Israel to rule. It was a time for the Romans via Esau to rule. It was a time for, the Huns and what's his name? Attila the Hun. And, for those Moabites to rule. But now it's Esau's time. Go ahead.
And setteth up over it the basis of men.
Yeah, man, he set up over us the basis of men. The lowest life form, walking this earth, Esau Edom.
What does scripture say? I wouldn't let him be in the field with my dogs or something like that.
Why? We know why. People are going to. I haven't seen recent posts of women, doing unseemly things with animals. And it's always the same people. There's nothing quite like them.
It's nothing quite like them.
Because Esau has a beast-like nature. He has a beast-like nature, so therefore he's gonna, and it's evident, man. Like even with that, just thinking about it, like it's like what the fuck, but it's like that's what we're dealing with. Esau has a beast-like nature. This is why you have a beast-like mentality in this place that we live in, man.
Look at him when he was in Petra. Where you have this image of cavemen as if we was all cavemen millions of years ago. No, the true caveman was Esau. He was the one that you could attach to that image, wearing his clothes until it disintegrated on him. Didn't have no culture, didn't have no whereabout about him. They was bestial people.
And going back to what you were speaking about earlier, it said that they prayed at the nettles, like whoo 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 whoo. Like they didn't have language. We sophisticated them. That's crazy.
And then they act like we the ones. Like that's.
But we the savages. You was Tarzan, nigga.
I think about whoever's in power, they write the narrative.
Exactly. The winner of the war writes the story. They could have been losing the whole battle, and then a fucking earthquake happens and the earth swallows up half the army, and then they're the only two people survive, and
two scary ass niggas way over there.
Right, the two niggas that ran see it happen, everybody else died, and they go back and say we won. It was a valiant fight, and we killed everybody. Everybody else just went home to their families, this, that, and the third. And Esau do it like that too. But Esau do it like that too. Change history. That's why the conscious niggas they call it his story, brother. It's not our story. It's his story. Go ahead.
Like Revelation?
Yeah.
Revelation 18 and 11. And the merchants of the earth shall weep and mourn over her, for no man buyeth their merchandise anymore.
There's gonna be no more need to produce Jordans. There's gonna be no more need to produce, Versace. For what? For who? All of that shit's gonna come to an end, man. People, everything's going after this this bombardment of America with these thermonuclear missiles. Everything's gonna go back to how it's supposed to be. Once the men of the Lord come back, all right, and put this place right side up, cleanse it, put leaders in place, the governing body, the 144,000. All right, this place gonna be all right. Okay.
The merchandise of gold and silver and precious stones and of pearls and fine linen and purple and silk and scarlet and all dyeing wood and all manner of vessels of ivory and all manner of vessels of most precious wood and of brass and iron and marble and cinnamon and odors and ointments and frankincense and wine and oil and fine flour and wheat and beasts and sheep and horses and chariots and slaves and souls of men.
Yeah, man, that's what everything that America was dealing with. All these different resources, from gold to spices to slaves, man. America was dealing in everything. All right, it had his hand in everybody's pocket. But once America's destroyed, there's gonna be no more market for it. I can't say there's gonna be no more market for it, because these are still things that are gonna be needed by the people who remain. but that level, the level of production that they were pumping out is going to be severely in decline.
Yeah.
You know, if you were pumping out, if you needed to meet the quota of, say 100 metric tons, that's going to go down to 40. So what is that? There's going to be a lot of job loss. The world's going to feel this residual effect of America, being destroyed. All right, you're gonna have, the scriptures don't say it. We know in part, we prophesy in part, but there's gonna be a power vacuum, and you might have these other nations who will want to take advantage, but that's when the elect are gonna come back and put everything in order.
And the fruits that thy soul lusted after are departed from thee, and all things which were dainty and goodly are departed from thee, and thou shalt find them no more at all. The merchants of these things, which were made rich by her, shall stand afar off for the fear of her torment, weeping and wailing, and saying, Alas, alas, that great city that was clothed in fine linen and purple and scarlet, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls. For in 1 hour, so great riches has come to naught.
In 1 hour, you see the riches of America. Everybody, not everybody, but you see a lot of nice cars. You see a lot of flashy jewelry, nice clothes, nice house, people living comfortable, people eating good, a lot of fat people. Why? Because they're eating good.
This is the highest rate of obesity in the
Yeah.
world.
Why? Well, why is that? Because everything's readily available. All right. Money is flowing. As bad as it is, money is still flowing. People are still, niggas ain't missing meals.
America still got the highest.
Never.
America still got the highest GDP.
As bad as it is, we're still doing better than, the vast majority of the world here in America. All right, but hey, all that shit about to come to an end, man. Yes, yeah.
2nd Ezra 16, verse 21. Behold, victuals shall be good, so good cheap upon earth, they shall think themselves to be in good case.
Hey, we think we in good case right now. Everything cool, But compare today to 1993. Go look at that price of gas in 1993. How much you think it was? How much is gas right now? For Omaha?
Like 309, something like $3.
All right,
High
$3.09.
$2.
All right, how much you think it was in '93?
Like $1,
Like $1.20 might be high. Yeah, like $1.12, $1.09. $5 used to be gas money.
Yeah. No, seriously.
You can get somebody $5 to go way out west, and then west out of the origin. $5. That same $5, when you convert that now, it would be like
$5 like $2 maybe.
So I'm saying per gallon. So if it's $3 a gallon, so that's what, 15? $5 is about $15 worth of gas. You get somebody $15, you can go pretty far. If I give you $15, you know what I'm saying, to take me somewhere, if it's far, all right, I'll take you.
Yeah.
All right, I'll take you. But if you give me $5, oh, you must be trying to go down the street, nigga.
Something. Or what you got a lawnmower at the crib?
Right, you going around the corner.
Yeah, right.
But back then, $5 was, you gave somebody 10, that's $20 will fill up your tank. I remember that. And that's how I made it in my mind when I was young. Okay, about $20 is a full tank of gas. And this was them big old schools. My mom had a 76 Impala. Big boat, big wide car. Yeah. $20 to fill that motherfucker up. Now, you put $20, you might not make it till tomorrow.
I just figured I need 50 to fill this motherfucker. At least 50.
Exactly, man. Not back then.
Not back then. Hell no. Back then, maybe
$12, $13 to fill that car.
It's 2nd Ezra 16 and verse 21. Behold, victuals shall be so good cheap upon earth that they shall think themselves to be in good case. And even then shall evils grow upon the earth, sword, famine, and great confusion.
Yeah, man. It ain't all that it seems that it is, man. America's got you in a trick bag. It got the wool over your eyes. You know, just because you can go to the store and and pick up some goods, go to the liquor store. Hell, you go to the farmer's market, and you might think you all right. This place is going down, man. And there's nothing but evil and destruction prophesied against this place, and we're getting closer and closer to that time where it's going to come. Is there more in that Revelation 18? More verses.
It says, and cried when they saw the smoke of her burning, saying, what city is like unto this great city? And they cast dust on their heads and cried, weeping and wailing, saying, alas, alas, that great city, wherein were made rich all that had ships in the sea by reason of her costliness. For in 1 hour she is made desolate.
Yeah, it's just going in about the destruction of America, man, and how these other countries are related to it. All right, remember these countries, they trusted in America. America came to them, with these doctrines, with their ways, said, take on our ways. You're going to be better for it. They were in, remember, because it's the New World Order. They were in league with this New World Order. They thought everything was about to be gravy. But now the head of the serpent has been cut off. So what? The body's going to follow. That's a wrench being thrown into their plans. You think they got a backup plan for the New World Order? They've been planning this in 1776. And you think no, this is the plan. There's no pivot. It's all right, well, if the Lord come back, we're going to do this. No. If the Lord come back, we're going to fight, because that's what the scriptures say. Yeah. Can we get that, Michael and his angels?
It's the book of Revelation, chapter 12 and verse 7. And there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon. And the dragon fought and his angels, and prevailed not, neither was their place found anymore in heaven.
That's their contingency plan. If the Lord come back, we'll just send our fighter jets against them. All right, and put our head between our legs and kiss our ass goodbye.
Send our space force.
And it goes a little bit deeper in Revelation, or 2nd Ezra, 13th chapter. We don't got to get it right now, but just for the viewers, it'll go a little bit more deeper into that story. But they don't have no backup plan. Well, they might, because they say what? They're gonna go into the cliffs of the rocks. They're gonna go high. But from there, we're gonna dig them out. But their want and their hope is to enact this new world order and to put them at the top as God. Can we get that real quick in Thessalonians?
I agree with you. I don't think they're going to have a game backup plan because, not saying what you're saying is wrong, but like it says also, and I believe in 2nd Ezra 13, it says that they're scared and durst fight. So they got, at some point, they believe that whatever they're doing is going to prosper. But damn, we got to defend ourselves.
That's talking about during the actual battle.
Yeah,
the battle in heaven. That's like the fighters in the actual jets. They're scared shitless, but they're still gonna fight.
That American pride. Okay. That's a lot.
I'm talking about the brains of the operation. The suits. The elites.
Okay.
What are they gonna do? Once the Lord throw a wrench in their plans, they're gonna go into them bunkers. And then that's when we're going to pull them out of the holes of the earth.
That's right. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 3. Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition.
Yeah, man, Esau Edom is going to be revealed to be the devil. I did a video, the devil is as the devil does. Just look what the devil is doing, or look what people are doing, and that's how you can identify him. You know, we're pushing this word. We can be identified as the righteous. You know, he's blowing up, 13-year-old birthday parties in foreign countries. You can be considered the wicked or the devil.
Who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called the Most High, or that is worship.
Yeah, he puts himself over the Most High. Well, when we drop this Neuralink, we're going to be better than God. They feel like, through this technology, through this AI, they're all knowing. Because the Most High, Yahweh, he is the existing one. He's omnipotent. He just is. He knows everything. He is everything. They think that they can use AI so that they can know everything. That's why they want to put that chip in you so that they can, try to harness your thoughts.
That's exactly it.
Push thoughts into your mind. It's all relevant, man. That's the only way that because Esau can control. He can control the weather. He can control the coming and going of activities. But once he's able to actually get into your brain and control you, then that's the final chapter. It's game over. Once he's able to see throughout from your eyes, basically, put that chip in your head, and then he can see on his camera through your eyes, it's game over.
Hey, but that's why it says that about the MOTB. It says that once you get that mark, there ain't no turning back from it. You chose a side. And this is why, hey, if I may real quick, that's why we come out here constantly, and even the elders and apostles been constantly putting out that prophecy of this microchip, man. Because once this thing is enacted, can we get that real quick? Revelation 13:16, and get the word mark? Because once you take that mark, it's a wrap, man. You're right? Because that word mark, which we'll get into it means an engraving under the skin. Just like the same thing they do with cattle to see who's theirs, right? Well, yeah, Baba Rashad, let's get that. One of y'all brothers read it, and then somebody get the definition of mark. If you have it, Baba Rashad.
Revelation chapter 13, verse 16. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their forehead.
Right, to receive a mark in the right hand or in their foreheads, right? Now, the apostle brought out a beautiful point, and I looked into it myself. Which when you go into that that right hand is really just talking about your strong hand, whatever hand you are, So, but let's get that word mark. And what was that in Revelation 14, the very next chapter, where it speaks about those that get it? Yeah. Whoever has the mark, Bible shop, bring that up.
No, I got the 14.
All right. When you go into the word mark, it's shown G5480, which is the Greek word charagma, a stamp and imprinted mark of the mark stamped on the forehead or the right hand as the badge of the followers of the Antichrist. The mark branded upon horses.
Right, the mark branded upon horses, and also there's more than one Antichrist. I couldn't pass that up. Because anything that's against the will of the Heavenly Father, anything that speaks loftily, especially against the scriptures, that's anti-Messiah, right? But can you read that last definition with the horses?
The mark branded upon horses.
The mark branded upon horses, right? So you would brand your cattle, you would brand your horses just in case they were to run off and somebody was to find them. They will look for that brand. Okay, this belongs to such and such. So that's the same thing with this RFID microchip, which is the mark of the beast. That's the same thing. It's a physical thing. It's not sin. It's not whatever you've been hearing outside of the microchip. That's what it is. All right? And like the apostles say, we push this ad nauseum because it has to be made known, man.
And that's why it's so imperative not to take it, because just like when you brand that horse and you're showing this is my property, if you get the mark of the beast, you are saying I'm Esau's property. I belong to him. And when that mark is pushed out there, it's going to be in a climate to where unless you have it, it's very, very, very difficult to live. You're closed off from society. So basically, Esau is going to make himself as if he is your God. You have to come to me to survive. And if you submit to that, you're saying, okay, Esau, you got it. And you're not trusting in Yahweh Bahasham YAHAWASHI. It's lucky.
And that you made a beautiful point because they, like you said, being closed off from society, and it brought 2 points to mind. But the first point is when this Ovid came in. You know, in certain particular places, unless you had like a mask or you had that jumper, you couldn't go into certain places.
Yep.
You know, so that was a prerequisite to what's coming on with this micro C hip. That wasn't the mark, but it was a trial run. You know, because what a lot of people start doing, they start panicking, running to these doctors, running to your Walgreens, getting the shot for free. They got the sign. They got, you know how you got you used to have people back in the day. They kind of do it now, here and there. But they have like a little billboard sign. They put it in the yard sale on such and such. They was doing that with the jump shot, man. Putting it right there. Come to Walgreens. Go to CVS. You got to get this, and then that's what the media is pushing too. You got to have this shot, or you can't go into this place. You can't go here. You can't go there. So the same thing with this micro C hip, because when you go and finish reading that Revelation 13, can we continue on that just a little bit more?
Revelation 13 and 17, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that hath the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name.
So you don't have access to certain things unless you have this, right? It's a point I want to get to. You go continue.
Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for is the number of a man, and his number is 666.
I think we passed it. That he should be killed. I think
okay. Revelation 13 and 15. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed.
Right. So that kill has two separate meanings. It can mean literally, but there's a point where you go into, I believe it's a Google search. What does it mean to be killed? And one of the definitions means to be separated. So this is that when we use context and seeing what the individuals that are getting these microchips now, because it's already out. Pretty much if you don't get it in a certain, if you don't have it, you cut off from this place. Oh, you can't go over there unless you have. Yeah, you want to make a point about Michelle?
Well, it's like I think about. I went to Whole Foods recently. You in the self checkout and you cannot use cash, and I didn't realize at first. I'm thinking, okay, I can put my cash in the machine, but no, you got to have a card or you got that biometric scan thing you can do. But if a person was to go in there with just cash, that's the only thing they could do. Then you gotta leave your basket. Put your damn groceries back, nigga. Like you gotta use. This is what you have to do. And eventually, once they nope, you can't use cards no more. You gotta use this biometric scan. Nope, there is no more biometric scan. Now you gotta have this chip, nigga. You can't get no groceries. What you gonna do? Talk to the manager?
Manager gonna tell you that's their back. Gonna tell you the same thing.
We don't do that here.
We don't.
We don't do that here.
Yeah. But real quick, just going into the etymology for that word "kill" to bring the proof, right? It says, and this is for kill in the etymology. You can look this up. It says the meaning to nullify or neutralize the qualities of. Yeah. So you're cut off. You can't do the same things that individuals do that have it. They're able to go, boop. You got your. I got my groceries. You can't get it. You ain't all right. You can't. So you don't have the same abilities to do what they do because it says to nullify or neutralize the qualities of. So pretty much you're an outcast.
But eventually, it's gonna be more than just buying and selling. It's gonna be you can't go to school unless you have this. This is what your school ID is on. Yeah. If you gotta go to the hospital, you can't go to the hospital unless you have this. You can't get a job unless you have this. This is going to be the way that society. This is what is going to be the backbone of society. This is how everything works now.
Well, hey, going further than that, you know what I'm saying? If you live in an apartment, where you think your house key gonna be on?
Right.
You buying a new car.
Right.
Where you think your new car keys gonna be on?
How you gonna pay rent?
Right. Daycare. It's so many levels to this, man. which is why so many people are going to break down and fold to it.
This is going to be the new standard of American life, man. The life in America, rather. You know? Can we get that Revelation 14?
Yeah. This is Revelation 14.
Oh, and also, I just want to make a quick point. This is why, you think about it, I was thinking about this earlier, or yesterday, rather. Like on the, because yesterday was the Sabbath before the sun went down, right? So let's say, I thought about this. Like, say you don't have any food to eat on the Sabbath. You know, for whatever reason, you weren't able to prepare your meal the night before. The next day comes, you're hungry. There's no food being provided for free. So now you're at a quagmire, like, damn, do I buy something? But I say all that to say, to get to the point of the Most High putting us in a position of learning how to go without for a certain extent of time. You know what I'm saying? Because the Most High, in those times where individuals don't have a chip, or when there's Jacob's trouble, where there's no food, period, the Most High had put in the mind of His faithful servants to know how to go without. And the Most High is going to provide in due season. I just want to make that point because that correlates with the chip too. Because we pray that, Lord willing, we don't fold to this, man. Can we get Revelation 3 and then? We pray Lord willing that we don't fold to it. Because we're still in the flesh like every other individual is. Right? So the same temptations that's going to come in them last days to not eat. I mean, to be hungry, like, damn, I'm hungry, what I'm gonna do? Like, no, man, I gotta stay strong. We gotta have a certain mindset, man. Okay? Let's get that real quick.
Revelation chapter 3, verse 10. Because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation.
Right. It says, since thou hast kept the word of my patience, and that word of the Most High's patience is the Holy Scriptures. Now, when you come into the fold of YAHAWASHI, it's not about just calling on God saying He's good, He's great, which He is, but there's a price that we have to pay as well, meaning that we're going to have to suffer. We're going to have to sacrifice things. We're going to go through things. You know, we're going to be faced with temptations, right? And there's a major temptation that's coming. This is what I want to get to. But, you know, it's more than just saying that we're Hebrew Israelites, right? It comes with works, you know.
I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation.
It's Salakia. Patience, when you go into patience, goes into enduring. Enduring goes back to make hard, which essentially goes into suffering. It's like I meant to mention that first. I apologize. Read that again.
I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation.
I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation. Which is that hour of temptation is talking about when this micro C hip is pushed on an all-time level where everybody, I'll just say it in short, when Esau makes it mandatory. Where every U.S. citizen that has a driver's license, that has a birth certificate, right? You have to get this micro C hip, man. And we're all going to be faced with that because, once again, we're all in this flesh. Go ahead.
Which shall come upon all the world.
Everybody's going to have to deal with it.
To try them that dwell upon the earth.
Right, it says that shall come upon all the world, shall try them that dwell upon the earth. And we just read in Revelation 13, small and rich, free and poor, free and bond. That's everybody. That's going to come upon everybody, man. But there's going to be elective individuals that when that time of temptation comes, they're going to refuse it. And this is why, going back to a point that I made, that Lord willing, we don't fold to it, is because we get hungry too. We want to do stuff too, right? Just like every other person in this world. But we have to be on a different mindset when this time comes, because some individuals will fold.
I would say you gotta be on a different mindset now. You know, because like my brother always says, you ever just heard these things on. You know what I'm saying? I ain't saying the Lord gonna have it to where you gotta go a week or two without food as of now for the most part. I mean, it could happen, but it's highly doubtful. But you're gonna be tested with temptation, with your patience, with your perseverance, and all of these things. That's why we are supposed to be working on ourselves. All right, not just reading the scriptures because we all know that we're Israelites, but actually applying them, man. Okay, so when we get to those times, right? When we get to those times, then we've already practiced on it. Okay, because like they say, you play how you practice. So if you're in practice now, i.e., before Jacob's trouble truly hits and intensifies, and you bullshitting, all right, just to be blunt about it, then you're gonna, what you think you're gonna fold then, man?
Gone.
1 Corinthians 9 and 27, but I keep under my body and bring it into subjection, least by any means, when I have preached to others, I myself should be a castaway.
Yeah, you got to keep under your body, bring it under subjection, man. Because that's another thing you work on is what? Discipline and temperance. All right, controlling yourself. Or at least what? When things really get heavy, you become a castaway. Before it get heavy, you become, hey, man, you got to do this, y'all do it. You telling everybody else what they supposed to be doing, but what are you doing? There's many scriptures to build your character, all right, to prepare for what's to come. Okay?
NLT says, I discipline my body like an athlete training it to do what it should.
And I'm going to let this brother take hold on this because he can tell you about boxing and having to discipline his body to make weight and cut weight and all of that, if he don't mind speaking on it.
Yeah. So, because it takes a lot of, like I say, man, what's the difference between an amateur and a pro? You know, or when I learned jiu-jitsu, it's like the difference between a blue belt and a black belt is timing. And that timing comes from experience. And when you're drilling, because there's people just like this gospel, you can just read, rehearse, you know what I'm saying? And I ain't talking about it's like sight reading for math or something like that. You're just doing it for memory. All right? Some people remember things. You got a good memory. All right, but knowledge puffeth up. Okay, but when you're really invested into doing something, like Bruce Lee said, I don't fear the man that could punch 1,000, do a 1,000 punches, but I fear the man that practices one punch 1,000 times. You know, and when you get into this gospel, same thing. You're practicing the same thing over and over and over, and you get more experience in it. All right, you're gonna go through injuries. You're gonna go through mental fortitude of saying, "Let me focus. I gotta keep doing this every day." Your muscles wear down. Your mind can wear down. You can get bored. All right, you gotta focus. You gotta find ways to keep your focus going within this ministry. You gotta find your ways of having tough skin. All right, so that's why it says when you keep yourself under your body, you're like an athlete making your body do what it's supposed to do. Meaning when it's time to perform, everything that you want to do, you naturally react to do. That makes sense because it's just like slipping. There's a bunch of people that learn how to slip and learn how to do it, and they get in the ring and they do that. You know what I'm saying? Because you haven't drilled it enough. You haven't drilled it in a real life situation.
That's a beautiful point because it's more than just saying I have faith. It's more than just saying I'm patient, I'm disciplined. No, when these real life experiences come about, then that's even shown to yourself because you can always say what you will do in the situation.
Yeah.
But you're only going to do what you actually do in the situation. Now, the brother brought out a beautiful word, he said the word experience, right?
We get to the etymology of the word experience. It's an observation as the source of knowledge. Actual observation, experiment, proof, a trial.
Experiment, proof, a trial, like a trial run, you know, you get one of them subscriptions, hey, you can check it out for 3 days for free. Then you're getting a trial run. You're testing it out, man. Or what? Go ahead.
Knowledge gained by repeated trials.
Knowledge gained by repeated trials. Like the brother said, you're doing it over. You ain't drilled it enough if you get in there and do that. But if you're drilling it how you're supposed to be drilling it, when you get in there, you will slip the proper way.
Man,
all right?
It'll be a knee-jerk reaction. That's what you want to do is make this truth a knee-jerk reaction to your decision making. You know what I'm saying? And when you're not meditating on the Lord day and night, then it's not going to be a knee-jerk reaction.
Which brings me to another point. Like you said, meditate before the Lord day and night. When YAHAWASHI was tempted of the devil came with scripture, and he fired right back with scripture. That's because it was of him, it was in him. It wasn't just something he did when people are around, man. That's something he was drilling on a daily, man, on every minute, every second.
Hebrews chapter 12 and 11. Now no chastening for the present seeming to be joyous, but grievous.
Yeah, the things that you go through now, being tested of your character, all right? Your patience being tested, your discipline being tested, all right? The person who you think you are being tested. That's not joyous, but it's grievous.
Nevertheless, afterward it yieldeth the peaceable fruit of righteousness unto them which are exercised thereby.
Which are exercised thereby, all right?
Exercised by what, though? The chassis. And when you go into exercise, can somebody get that in the blue letter?
I know, like the word exercise, huh?
Yeah, I need it now.
Yeah, it's Strong's G 1129. Says the exercise of the body and a palestra, a school of athletes of athletics, the exercise of conscientiousness relative to the body, such as its characteristic of ascetics.
And that's for that verse?
For no,
I got it. This Strong G 1128. It says gymnazo to exercise undress, in a palestra or school of athletics to exercise vigorously in any way, either the body or the mind.
So let's go into the actual word exercise, because that's what the definition is permeated around. All right, it's the actual, because sometimes the blue letter say one word, and a definition will mean something that's contrary or besides your natural assumption, I would say.
It's etymology. It says condition of being in active operation, practice for the sake of training.
Yeah, the scripture said rehearsal righteous acts. You know what I'm saying? We're supposed to exercise it. That means you're constantly doing it. You know, and you don't want to do it till you get a victory. You're supposed to do it, you know, like they said, even within athletics, you know, people with true discipline don't do things till they get it right. They do it till they can't get it wrong. Okay? And that's then, as Mike Tyson said, discipline is doing something you hate to do, but doing it like you love it. Right? Now, this truth shouldn't be something that you hate to do, but your flesh has other plans. Okay? So that's like the scriptures say, the spirit warred against the flesh. All right? And we have to be tapped into the spirit in order to obey it. All right? That means comfort. That means happiness, the emotional things. You have to, that's second nature, man. Let things that is true, let your priorities bring you happiness, sadness, and all that. All right?
It says execution of power, physical or spiritual exercise. Keep busy, keep at work, oversee, engage busily, train, practice, carry into effect.
Yeah, man, and just like we was, you know, mentioning with the combat, like it takes dedication mentally to get better at something, you know, because you could sit there and be popping the jab out there, and you could throw 1,000 jabs and just be talking to somebody willy-nilly, and you just doing it like this. Nah, you're supposed to, every punch supposed to be like the perfect, all right? And if you don't get it perfect, then it's okay, but you're supposed to scrutinize while you get it. Pop it, oh, let me put my chin down. Pop it, oh, let me turn my knuckles over. Pop it, let me put my shoulder down. Let my hands, my feet, and you're supposed to do it once you keep tuning and getting better and better and better. There's going to be a natural reaction to snap it. Bam, bam, bam. And you don't got to think about it. So it's the same thing. You have to build up a callus, and it's true. Some things, everything is going to be hard when you first start. You're going to fail. You're get tired. That's adversity. That's affliction. But we have to overcome in order to make it through the fire. Because whatever makes it through the fire, the furnace of adversity, all right, it's gonna come out as what? Gold, man. Let's get that in Sirach, man. Well, there's another one, you know, a couple of them, gold or Ophir, you know.
Sirach chapter 2, verse 5. For gold is tried in the fire, and acceptable men in the furnace of adversity.
Yeah, the furnace of adversity. Okay? So there's those acceptable men, and we all have some type of gold within us. Okay? But within that gold is how much gold? Are you pretty much nickel plated, or are you all gold? Okay? So, and that's you know, because some of these guys in these other camps are gold plated. You know, there is gold on the outside, and the rest of the inside of them is all wood. But the Lord said, whatever remains, it'll remain. You just gotta hope that gold that remaineth is enough to pay your toll. Okay?
This is Isaiah 13 and verse 12. It says, I will make a man more precious than fine gold, even a man than the golden wedge of Ophir.
Yeah. And what makes us more precious than fine gold in this time is this doctrine, being a prophet, being a man of the Lord, being a part of 144,000, being a part of the innumerable multitude, because this gospel and the Holy Spirit through the Holy Spirit is the riches. All right, this knowledge is our treasure. Okay.
Yeah, because like you said, we all got gold in us. Well, that fiery, those tribulations and that fiery trial is how you do what? Get those impurities out. If you don't acknowledge the impurities, you're gonna just keep them in there. Oh no, that's good right there. No, I think that's gold. So you just heating it up and leaving it in there. Like, no, you gotta get it out so you can be pure, man.
Well, you do that when you temper metal. Put it in that fire, and when they beat it, and you see all that black shit that look like crust, that's the impurities falling off. And they put it back in the fire and get it back up, heat it, and then they beat it. So they as they beat it, the impurities fall off, and it gets into the shape that they need. So it's a lot of affliction, a lot of beat, and then you get the end result, which is the sword, or and the more that time that metalsmith takes, the more prestige and strong that metal is, man. You know, so you gotta be willing to be beaten. Yeah. You know, that's fasting is self-affliction. You know, body and the mind, and that's what we got to be overcoming because, you know, the world is before us, man. We were talking about this the other day of overcoming the world, man. We preach this gospel and we got to overcome the world. All right, and these other camps don't teach you how to overcome the world. They tell you to keep the law, and that'll do that. But the law ain't gonna tell you nothing about the 2020 Jabberwock. You know what I'm saying? It's prophecies that tell you that. All right, there's prophecies that tell you don't take the MOTB, but there's a law that says you're not supposed to make, you know, raisins in your skin. But again, the law is good if a man uses it lawfully. Okay.
This is Malachi chapter 3, verse 2. It says, but who may abide the day of his coming, and who shall stand when he appeareth? For he is like a refiner's fire, and like fuller's soap. And like the brother just speaking on, as far as a refiner of fire, that's what you do when you put metals into it and get those impurities out. And when it comes to a fuller of soap, it says a fuller's job was to cleanse and whiten cloth. In Jerusalem, the cleansing process took place in a fuller's field outside the city because of the smell. Dirt and oils were removed from the wool so that it would be pure white and ready to be dyed if desired. Soap contained alkaline substances such as sodium carbonate or potassium carbonate. The word alkali comes from Kal Halal, the Arabian word for saltwork or glasswork plant, whose ashes were used of soap. And I'm going to skip down a little bit. It says, with the cloth soaking in soap and water, the fullers beat or stamped it to remove the impurities. The Hebrew word for fuller comes from the root meaning to tread. So just like to whiten that wool, it had to be beaten. It's the same process as refining that that gold and those metals. They got to be
heating and beating, man, you know, to get those impurities out, to become clean, to become pure, man. But like he said, you don't want to, if you don't want to be beaten, you don't want to step into that fire, how are you ever going to be cleansed, man? It's the same as second Ezra, the 7th chapter. If a man don't go and face those dangers, how can he inherit that city that's on the other side? You're not going to, you're going to be on the outside talking like, man, I would so love to go. But before that, you was just saying, yeah, when we get there, man, I'm ready. I'm going to cross that bridge. And then you get there, you know, now you chilling out.
This is second Ezra chapter 7 and verse 6. There is also another thing. A city is builded and set upon a broad field and is full of all good things.
That city is the kingdom of heaven. All right?
The entrance thereof is narrow and is set in a dangerous place to fall.
Yeah, that's this world. All right, whether you're in mainly specifically in Babylon, I'm gonna say specifically because the root of wickedness is spread across the four corners of the earth. All right, so we're walking through the valley of the shadow of death, and we're supposed to maintain ourselves. Okay,
like as if there were a fire on the right hand and on the left a deep water.
yes, those are implications of dangers. Okay,
and one only path between them both, even between the fire and the water. So
that's the direction of this gospel. You can't take another God. All right, you can't build Israel in America. Okay, you can't be a Sakari. Okay, you can't do it your own way. There's one way. There's one path. All right. That's why we have to be within order. Because that's a discipline within itself as well. All right. And you trying to build Israel in America, this is Lot's wife turning back. You feel like you gonna miss what was here when the Lord is promising us greener grass, man.
It says the entrance thereof is narrow and set in a dangerous place to fall, like as if there were fire on the right hand and on the left a deep water, and one path and one only path between them both, even between the fire and the water, so small that there could but one man go there at once.
Yep, so you gotta work out your own salvation. You know what I'm saying? But we all in line. So we can all push each other. Hey, keep going. You know, let a person know, hey, it's slick, pass it back. You know, but you still gotta walk. Nobody gonna be able to hold your hand. You gotta still walk past that slick spot and figure it out on your own. You know? Yeah. Hey, you don't know where it's at, you know, but you gotta be mindful. If you're listening and taking heed, okay, let me ease up a little bit. But if you want to like, yeah, man, you know, you're doing all of that, not paying attention. You know, you gotta talk about it, man. Hot all day. It's like, you don't know. Yep. You know what I'm saying? So it's you know, we're here for each other, but you still gotta walk your own path. You know.
It says, if this city were now given unto a man for an inheritance, if he never shall pass the danger set before it, how shall he receive this inheritance?
Yeah, that's what it is. The city, we see salvation, we see prophecies come to pass. So, you know, those of you that are out there, you're supposed to get up and do things, knowing that heaven and earth shall be dissolved. What manner and persons ought ye to be in all holy conversation and godliness. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're supposed to know, like, okay, damn, all right, let me figure it out. And then you start beating your wool. You start going through your adversity. Because as Sirach says, chapter 2, when you come to serve the Lord, is in chapter 1, chapter 2, so Lord, prepare thy soul for temptation. Right? So that's like the automatic, okay, get that in your mind. So when it happens, oh, Lord, why is this happening? Oh, it's so stressful. I would focus on the truth more if this wouldn't happen. And no, that's the whole point. You're supposed to show how bad you want the truth by fixing that and focusing on the gospel at the same time. You know? Hey, hell, my woman trying to breathe fire today. I said, look, man, I got an hour and some change to make it to camp, man. We ain't doing this, man. You know? My spirit gonna be off. And I don't want to be sitting there arguing or going back and forth about something. It ain't necessary. Alright? And that happens, man, because Satan jumps on any and everybody. All right? That's the thing that people don't, can't omit as well, because you're in this gospel don't mean Satan can't get on you. All right? Satan got on Peter, but Peter ain't no Satanist. Okay? And so, because what did Peter say to the Lord? That he wasn't going to be crucified.
Yeah.
And the Lord called him Satan, man. But he was calling out Satan that was on him, man. And have him say that, but Satan was again tempting Peter. And Peter fell for the temptation to say what he said. But he was, because he cared for the Lord. He was like, man, I'm telling you, you're going to die. Peter said it. You know? That's another thing is to digress. He said you got to know when Satan's talking and know when the Lord's talking. And ultimately, you got to, it's according to the Lord's will. Okay?
Yeah.
Because you're not supposed to tell somebody that, go in the way that they should follow, and you're supposed to be your brother's keeper. So is Peter being his brother's keeper when he said that to the Lord that you shouldn't die? You know what I'm saying? So that the Lord's will trumps all that, man. Okay? This is a lesson I'm get into our brother about. But the Lord's will trumps a lot of direction. And it may not be what you think it should be. Make you feel like the natural way is the right way. Again, Peter being in that situation with YAHAWASHI. Let's actually read that, Bible Shah. It's not saying that it's Peter's a bad person. He's this. No. Peter was a great man. All right. He was the first stone laid on the foundations of Yahushua to rebuild the temple. Okay. So with that being said, Peter they get no better than that, right? And Peter had highs and lows, but he was consistent with his highs. All right, and he was sincere. It's Matthew 16:21. From that time forth began Yahushua to show unto his disciples how that he must go unto Jerusalem and suffer many things of the elders and chief priests and scribes, and be killed and be raised again the third day. Then Peter took him and began to rebuke him, saying, Be it far from thee, Lord, this shall not be unto thee. But he turned and said unto Peter, Get thee behind me, Satan. Thou art an offense unto me, for thou savorest not the things that be of the Most High, but those that be of men. You see? All right? Because you can, was Peter wrong in saying that? I don't want nothing to happen to you. But that was against the Lord's will. Okay? So Peter was doing the works of Satan, man. You know what I'm saying? And that's how it can happen. So you got to always put the Lord's will first. Okay? That's why it says meditate on the Lord day and night. Mainly meditate on his will. Okay? Did you inch closer to salvation? Did you do things to push other people forward to salvation? Okay? And you got to ask yourself that. That's what we're doing all this work. Okay? There's a work you have to put in. It ain't just, making the paper. We gotta get into our studies. You gotta know what you're talking about, understand. But you also gotta, there's things within this gospel that you have to experience as well. Okay? To tell somebody how to be upright, you gotta experience that, man. Because, the Lord chose the base things of the world, and that's a beautiful thing because there's nothing that a person can't say that a base man ain't go through. Okay? Ain't like a celebrity, LeBron out here teaching, and it's like, y'all gotta deny yourself, y'all gotta deny the world, stop buying this, stop doing this. Like, you got a swimming pool and all this. What do you know about hurting? You know what I'm saying? But the Lord chose the basement. You can't tell us we don't know nothing about hurting. We come from the same spot y'all come from. So we can sit there and tell you, you tripping. Who are you to tell me that? I came from where you came from. You used to see me out there. So and it gives them no place of excuse, man. So it's a beautiful thing. And it's an even more beautiful thing when we overcome certain things. You know what I'm saying? Not only within the ministry, but to people without. They see that the Lord wrote, man. And to increase. Alright? Main thing is pressing forward towards these prophecies, man. Being vessels fitted for salvation, not destruction. Alright? Yeah, somebody got something?
Yeah, I had something. So 1 John chapter 5, verse 4. For whatsoever is born of the Most High overcometh the world.
Yeah, what is the world? Alright? Let's get that. First John, was that 5?
1 John 5.
Where you at right now?
That's verse 4.
Like 5 and 4?
5, yeah, 5 and 4.
Okay, no, you keep going there. I think that's the same. That's the same. Yeah. Let's get that real quick.
1 John chapter 2, verse 15. Love not the world, neither the things that are in the world. If any man love the world, the love of the Father is not in him. For all that is in the world, the lust of the flesh.
Yeah, the lust of the flesh is things that you want. All right, the things that you want, the things that you're used to, comfort, certain foods, TV shows, family, women. All right, that's the lust of the flesh, man. And of course, when I say women, I don't know. Trying to be litty.
Like as the scriptures say, flee youthful lust.
Flee lust. That's right.
It says, and the lust of the eyes.
Things that you want. Because there's a lot of things, man, you think you don't even really want until you see it.
Yeah.
You know you wanted that.
Yeah.
And especially now, all these ads and shit.
Yeah. Or like, well, I guess that's covered. It says, and the pride of life.
Yeah, an expectation. Because Babylon sets a standard of you have to present yourself this way. All right? And it's really about, are you performing up, are you presenting your body a living sacrifice that's acceptable to YAHAWASHI? That's the real question. Okay? The body you presenting and giving it to the Lord, the works you present, does he accept it? All right? No matter how much you make, your relationship in your household, gospel properly, man. Right? Like in the world, that's natural. You're supposed to walk that walk. Alright?
Says, and the lust of the eyes and the pride of life is not of the Father, but is of the world.
So all that's world. That's your mindset. So when you're trying to do the gospel, so you can get money, get some popularity, trying to get numbers, that's a pride of life, man. Oh man, I might look like this, I might look like that. A lot of these guys won't say certain things because of what the world will view of them. But a real prophet of the Lord will say whatever needs to be said to get the point across, man. That's why a lot of prophets, the bulk of prophets were executed, man. Okay?
It says, and the world passeth away, and the lust thereof, but he that doeth the will of the Most High abideth forever.
Yep. As a matter of fact, we're talking about the prophets. Let's get that a prophet is hated in his own city and even in his own house, man. All right, so we're not out here to be nobody's friend. We're not out here to be nobody's enemy. We're just out here to tell the truth. Okay? You do what you want with it. You could nod your head no, but the Lord's will is going to come to pass. All right? The MOTB is going to come. Concentration camps. The vision of good and evil. All right? All these things are going to come to pass regardless of how people want to think based off of what imagination that Esau presented unto you. Okay? Go ahead.
Mark chapter 6, verse 4. But Yahawashi said unto them, a prophet is not without honor, but in his own country and among his own kin and in his own house.
Yeah, a prophet is not without honor, but his own country, his own kin, even in his own house, man. All right, That's how it is. Your women will be around a whole, listening to a whole another nigga, you're a whole prophet in the house. And she listening to Mike talk about watermelon and spinach and shit. You know?
Right.
And you got a whole prophet sitting next to you. You know? That's the how the scriptures manifest, man. Our own people walk by us, talk stuff. You know, our own city. They want to listen to niggas in New York. They want to imagine things. Okay? Because that goes into like the 40 laws of power. Like, you know, your distance can give you power. The more you're around, people can get familiar. You know?
So John chapter 15, verse 19. If you were of the world would love his own. But because ye are not of the world, but I have chosen you out of the world, therefore the world hated you.
Yeah, so as prophets, we're not going to. So that's a part of the affliction as well, the adversity. Is that you're not going to be loved of the world, you're not going to be loved of your family, all right? Because you're going to, and the thing is, your family ain't going to hate you, but they're the way, you know, the decisions you make will rub them the wrong way. And you got to choose them. Because let's go into that word hate. People take it like, you know what I'm saying? Like, niggas just start beefing with you or something, you know? Like, it's not no pure beef that happens. But a distance starts a game. And you feel like you got to fit in with your family, fit in with the world to keep moving in it. Man, the hell with them, man. If they was your real family, and they was your real friends, they'd be in this gospel. All right?
It's Strong's G3404, which says to hate, pursue with hatred, detest. And it says to love less. Man, that's everything.
Yeah. So it doesn't mean like it just turns into this enraged. Oh, you gonna eat pork? Niggas like, oh man, you gonna eat pork, man? I can't bite them places because niggas gonna think he's weird and shit. You know? So it turns into that. Then it grows. Once it turns into Jake will turn you in, man. They'll still hang around you. But it says some of us should be tossed, some of us should be tossed up in prison by our friends. You know? Because our own family members would turn us in, or it's prophesied to turn us in. All right, our own friends, family, neighbors, co-workers. So when you sitting there thinking them niggas cool and shit, hey, they ain't bound by the same covenant we bound by. They ain't gonna sit there and say, man, damn, that's a prophet though. I shouldn't do that. They're not gonna say that, or the Lord gonna do me something if I ever do something like that to a person like that. They wanna say that. They say, oh man, I gotta live. Live see another day.
Yeah. It's Matthew chapter 10, and I start at verse 16. It says, behold, I send you forth as sheep in the midst of wolves. Be ye therefore wise as serpents and harmless as doves, but beware of men, for they will deliver you up to the councils and will scourge you in their synagogues, and ye should be brought before governors and kings for my sake, for a testimony against them and the Gentiles.
Yeah, you see, so that's prophesied that the people around us are going to throw us up, man. All right, because we're one of the entities amongst many other entities. You know, got whistleblowers, people who raise the flags of awareness of what's going on in the government. We're the people that they'll look at. That's why you got medical misinformation. Because we'll be like, nah, don't take that. Don't do this. You know, it's medical misinformation. But you can get on there and say that, you know, cow farts is destroying the ozone layer. Like it ain't Hemis and semi-trucks and Boeing 15s.
Right.
And nuking the ocean. There's just blowing bombs up in the ocean. It don't do nothing. It's cows. Now we need to make fake trees that pull CO2 out of the air because that regulation. They say it's only 0.04% of CO2 in the atmosphere, so moving around shouldn't be that different. But then it turn around and says that CO2 then blocks the heat from the sun coming in. Like, I don't care what percentage it is, you know? This ain't Kool-Aid, nigga.
Right.
It's a fitly joined organism,
Right.
you know? This ain't poor to taste.
It's Matthew 10:21. It says, "And the brother shall deliver up the brother to death, and the father the child, and the children shall rise up against their parents, and to cause them to be put to death."
Yeah. So you see? So you got to keep that in mind, man. It's a hard thing to see y'all eating together, y'all laughing, talking about when y'all was 5 and 7 and shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But you got to really see them, you know? Your relatives, a nigga, they'll sell you out.
Yeah, you gonna see if they love you or not.
Yeah.
They live.
And there's a lot of things our people in the world love more than other people.
Yeah. Esau offered him a bag. You know, hey, I just need to tell you where he live at.
Don't do them nothing, though.
Yeah.
No, don't hurt them.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
You ain't gonna hurt them, is you? Oh, all right.
What you
How
gonna
many
do
niggas
to him?
snitch on niggas?
Right.
You know?
All the time.
And we talking about death. We're talking about like niggas dying, shooting armies. And where he at? I know you know where he at. Like, it's a wrap. They gonna give him clean up, man. They gonna give us clean up.
It's Omaha. You know they drop a dime on you.
Yeah, boy, shit everywhere, man. You know, Jake can sell you out to say they own skin. And that's why, hey, I keep 2/3 at a distance. You'll know I talk to you, but you'll never know. You know what I'm saying? You'll never know any of my escape routes and shit. I got I ain't got no escape routes. Hey, the Lord gonna be our protection. You get what I'm saying? You ain't gonna know. Hey, it says that in Sirach. Give not thy strength unto a stranger, but a power unto a stranger. Let's get that real quick. I think it's strength or power, either one. 5:26.
This is Sirach chapter 26, verse 19. My son, keep the flower of thine age sound, and give not thy strength to strangers.
Yeah. So you don't want to give your power unto them, you know, because these 2/3 are strangers, they're Gentiles. Alright? We shall be delivered up by the Gentiles, man. That's talking about mainly the 2/3 of our people. You know? That voted for Trump, that voted for Biden, that voted period, that go to school. Okay? You suspect. You know what I'm saying? Unless you got your head on right, ain't nothing wrong with school, but a lot of people that go there got expectations. They believe in this place.
Yeah.
You ain't in there like, let me, if you really a man of the Lord, man or woman of the Lord, just get your trade, man. You know what I'm saying? Start you up a business if you want to try to do something extra. I ain't telling you to do that, but it shouldn't be that I'm about to go get this PhD. I go get this PhD. No, ain't no prophet, no innumerable multitude gonna be thinking like that. Now, if you in college and you're a junior and you run across GMS, you know what I'm saying? Now, if you get out of college and you say fuck this shit, that's for glory to you. But if you finish out like let me finish out this shit, keep watching videos, you graduate, ain't nothing wrong with that. Okay? Like, come on, let's be real here, like, you know. But as long as you wake up to this gospel and you knowing that heaven and earth shall be dissolved, you start moving and operating in the direction of the Lord's will. All right? You can go to college, you ain't not studying, come home, read. You know what I'm saying? Spiritually prepare yourself.
It's a day before your graduation. They implement martial law or mandate the shit. Hey, you know what I'm saying?
They say you can't go up there on that stage unless you get the MOTB. And it's like, oh man, the hell with it then. The hell with it. Fuck it. You You know? A lot of people gonna be see hit parade.
See him parade.
They gonna get snatched up. A lot of our people. And you can tell with the pandemic, man, there was a lot of layers to that onion. Getting people satisfied with staying at home, being comfortable with the amenities of at home, all that streaming just started getting broader.
Yeah.
You know?
Turning people or creating groups in the sense of we got it and y'all didn't get it. We're thinking of the safety of people and all of that.
And then like all Netflix had all the coolest movies,
Bro,
HBO Max, you know what I'm saying? And all this technology came out, sharing it. Because like the Elder Yashwan is a beautiful lesson, man, showing how they trying to get you comfortable with staying home. You know what I'm saying? Because they don't get you comfortable. It's not moving around this 15-minute city. Alright?
on Prime, off the damn previous movie. About a month later, it was on Netflix. Like, damn.
Yeah.
I could have just waited.
Yep, they getting all they like. It's not like this regular stuff, man. You can do so much at home gym. You got light up wall things you can go hit. You know, they're trying to kill the gyms, man. They got these little rowboats you can get on now. Power stations and shit. You know? At home water, you know, like indoor swimming pools and shit. Like they trying to get you not to go anywhere. You know? As a man should desire to go into the city and not be able to. It's a legal concept. You know? Your CO, you're putting out too much CO2 emissions. You want to go by your ain't, you know, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Ain't Jean, ain't Mama Jean. Down in Mississippi, that's about, if you walk down there, that's, you're putting out too much CO2. If you drive down there, too much CO2. But they might not even, you know how Babylon do it, they just charge you for gas, and the further you go, the gas might increase, or you can't afford that within your ration. Like there's no possible way you can eat and sustain yourself living to even travel an hour somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just enough gas for you to make it to a full home, or whatever the amenities are for you to operate. They give you everything to stay in the city. But if you start traveling, they'll let you travel out, but it may be too expensive.
Move it up your coverage.
Yeah, you ain't gonna make it for 5 miles out. Imagine your car only gets you 30 minutes in the next city to the hour out, and everything is a 15-minute city. It's a to and from charge. And the only vehicles that can make it far is like you gotta get a certain car. You know, Esau's gonna set it up like that. And Jake don't like it. A pandemic, everybody's just still, don't move. Plastic. They're gonna lock it up, they're gonna never open up. Hold on, where we're gonna build this big, y'all remember Disneyland and all that? We got one right here. You know what I'm saying? Man, y'all remember Jamaica and all that? We built one right here.
We got Jamaica at the house.
Yeah, like the VR and shit.
Yeah.
Like the dude said, man, you can get in this little pod and be in some sand and some water, put the shit on your head and hear all the sounds and all that, and you sitting in there and you come out feeling like you really was there. Meanwhile, they actually there, just walking around. Because that's what they want to do. They want to turn all these great places into their own country clubs. You know? While everybody living in a 15-minute city, man. You know? Anybody got something?
Yeah, I have one also. It's Sirach chapter 8, verse 18. It says, "Do no secret thing before a stranger, for thou knowest not what he will bring forth. Open not thine heart to every man, lest he requite thee with a shrewd turn."
Never trust our enemy, don't trust these niggas. If you're not even, I don't trust you. Yeah, you ain't got no sense. Anybody with some sense with knowing that the Lord gonna destroy hell and earth. Not he ain't gonna obliterate it and we're gonna be houses, backyard pools, video games, all that, man. You know? What type of person would you be? Right? And who would you trust? You know? These niggas sitting there knowing that the Lord is doing all this and still partying and shit like that. You ain't got no discipline. So how the hell you gonna have discipline to overcome when it gets real? Okay? Like I say, I don't trust no fat nigga on my business. You know, like running my business because you got no discipline not eating. Don't touch my money. Right. But yeah, man, that's saying gonna get all praises.
Unto Yahawah, bahasham, YAHAWASHI, bahasham, Rakakadash.
Well, that's a citation, but that's that teaching.
Shalom.